The Rapture Puzzle, Putting the Scriptural Pieces Together, Day of Atonement 2015, September 23rd and 24th, 2015, Judgment Day. Chapter 4, continued, The Abomination That Causes Desolation, and 1290 Days. You may be wondering why I'm spending so much time on this puzzle piece, the abomination that causes desolation. The reason is because it is such a crucial piece of the puzzle. If the abomination took place on March 22nd, 2013, then we are about to begin the final year of Daniel's 70th week, also known as the Day of the Lord. If what took place on March 22nd, 2013 was in fact the abomination spoken of in Daniel and by Jesus in Matthew 24, then it should be able to answer yes to the following questions in fulfillment of the prophecies. Question: did what took place happen in the middle of a possible final 7-year period, wherein an agreement was strengthened at the beginning of this 7-year period, and was it also 1290 days before a significant date? Daniel 9:27 says that leader will make a firm agreement with many people for 7 years. He will stop the offerings and sacrifices after 3.5 years.
And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days.
So the answer to this question is yes. It was exactly 1,260 days after Mr. Obama was chosen as the Nobel Peace Prize winner on the 7th day of Tabernacles, representing the strengthening of his agreement with many to be the peacemaker for the world. It also took place 1,290 days before the Feast of Trumpets in 2016, which starts the Jewish New Year, the year in which Christ will return to earth to rule and reign for 1,000 years. Next question. Did what took place involve this one who strengthened his covenant with many going into a holy place and standing where he did not belong?
So when you see standing in the holy place, the abomination that causes desolation, spoken of through the prophet Daniel, let the reader understand.
The answer to this question is yes. Mr. Obama stood at the grotto, the place where Christ was born. Here are some quotes from various news articles about the Church of the Nativity. Quote number 1. For centuries, it was one of the most fought over holy places. Quote number 2. The Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem is a major Christian holy site, as it marks the traditional birthplace of Christ. Quote number 3, the holy site, known as the grotto, that the Church of the Nativity sits atop, is today associated with the cave in which the birthplace of Jesus of Nazareth occurred. Quote number 4, no wonder Mr. Sharon told the Israeli parliament he would expect the international community to demand that the terrorists lay down their arms and leave the holy place. Quote number 5, one of Christianity's most holy places, the site's focal point is the grotto of the Nativity, a rectangular cavern beneath the church that has been considered the site of Christ's birth since at least the 2nd century. Third question. Was this holy place ever desecrated by armed forces?
His armed forces will rise up to desecrate the temple fortress and will abolish the daily sacrifice. Then they will set up the abomination that causes desolation.
The answer to this question is again yes. The Church of the Nativity was taken over by armed forces on April 2nd, 2002, and they desecrated the place. Again, here are some quotes from news agencies about this event. Quote number 1. Still, it's a shock to realize that this desecration of the ancient church, built over what's believed to be the birthplace of Jesus Christ, has brought down neither Christian wrath nor international pressure on the desecrators to lay down their arms and leave. Quote number 2. Palestinians celebrate Church of Nativity win. Israel notes they desecrated the site. Quote number 3. UNESCO turns the same church over to Palestinians that PLO desecrated during Intifada. Quote number 4. While Muslims have responded with a deadly outrage to the now retracted report by Newsweek of alleged Quran desecration by U.S. interrogators, there was little outcry 3 years ago when Islamic terrorists holed up in Bethlehem's Church of the Nativity reportedly used the Bible as toilet paper. Quote number 5. The Israeli Prime Minister's office said at the time, the world needs to remember that the Church of the Nativity, which is sacred to Christianity, has been desecrated in the past by Palestinian terrorists. Okay, last question. Was there a daily sacrifice of some sort that was stopped on the day when this abomination took place? Daniel 9:27 says, "The leader will make a firm agreement with many people for 7 years. He will stop the offerings and sacrifices after 3.5 years." And then Daniel 12:11 says,
And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days.
Again, the answer to this question is yes. Every day there are visitors who come to the Church of the Nativity from around the world to visit the grotto and bow down to worship Jesus, thanking him for coming to the earth to pay the sacrifice for their sins. This worship is a sacrifice of praise and offering of thanksgiving. This could not take place on the day when Mr. Obama visited, because all daily activities at the church were rearranged in order to accommodate his visit. Mr. Obama and his entourage did not go there to worship Jesus or bow their hearts or their knees before the Lord. Mr. Obama stood in the holy place where he did not belong and did not worship Jesus. He stopped the daily sacrifice and offering.